everybody. Welcome to a new episode of the Low Code Approach. Now, this isn't just any episode. This is episode 100, which means we did it. We achieved a thing. We hit 100 episodes. So, I don't know, what, 300-400 episodes more in a movie? Something like that. I think that's how it goes. But anyway, I'm one of your hosts. I'm Sean Feeney, a senior product marketing manager on the Power Platform and Copilot Studio team. And I'm joined by...
I'm Wendy Haddad. I'm a senior customer experience program manager on the Planner team and a former Microsoft customer. And I am joined by...
senior product manager, and more importantly, general of lots of security nowadays. And I'm joined by...
Yeah, it's me. Hi.
No intro needed.
Ken, keeping it real.
Yeah, all right. Very cool. So we're going to start off the podcast a little bit differently than we normally do. And this is a game that I want our listeners and our co-hosts to play along. So earlier in the week, we had our super producer, Sam, send an email out to everyone saying, hey, here's some icons, some word art icons or whatever off of Word, and print it out. And so the reason behind that is we're going to play a game. It's going to be quiz. And if whoever's first to know the answer and wants to answer, show your icon. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but we have a YouTube channel and we are actually putting out videos right now. So we want you to join in the visual insanity and see us fight over who showed the icon first. Now, for those avid listeners, you'll probably identify a trend in the icons that are shown. They represent a little bit about our identities. So if you're listening to the podcast on whatever your podcast listening app is, awesome. But hop over to YouTube and watch it because it's going to be great. All right, everyone. Just because I want a thumbnail for the video, can you hold up your icons? Ken disappeared. This is fantastic. Okay.
Oh, no.
Awesome. So for those that are listening and able to watch, we have a captain for Wendy. We have a general for Jocelyn. And we have a no sign for Ken.
Where's yours, Sean?
I'm the one asking questions, so I don't need one. Okay. All right.
Not a pizza for Jocelyn?
Give me a second. I'm going to go print one out for Sean.
Okay. All right. So listen, while Ken is searching for the world's best icon for me, let's start off with a very, very, very easy question. Now, if you have the answer, raise up your icon. You get 2 points. All right. Ready? General knowledge.
Knowledge.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Okay. What is the primary goal of the Low Code Approach podcast? It is A, to explore and discuss the benefits of applications of low-code development. B, to teach coding to beginners. C, to review the latest tech gadgets. Or D, to discuss the finer techniques of cooking bacon. Ken.
That would be E, sir. That would be all of the above.
That's actually, you know what? That's not what Copilot generated, but I'm going to accept that. 2 points for House Dr. No. All right, let's go to
You stumped me on the bacon. I was like, what?
Yeah, that was the point.
Out this early. Getting a little crispy this morning, Sean.
That is totally fair. Okay, let's get into a little bit more difficult questions. So this is for people who understand the lore of the podcast, so who've heard prior episodes and understand the guests that we have on. In the episode, Power Automate Desktop and Copilot for Makers, who was the repeat guest? Was it A, Rahul Ranjit, B, Bill Ryan, C, Karsten Goth, D, Jeremy Thake? Wendy.
Was it Bill Ryan?
It was correct. 2 points for House Never Neverland. All right, and then we've got, I think this question might be loaded. All right, in the episode Who Watches the Watchmen, what city was Chris Simmons experiencing weather issues? Was it A, Houston, B, Seattle, C, Dallas, or D, New York?
We're like, did we record an episode like that?
I'm like, I don't.
We're on episode 1.
Who watches the Watchmen?
I don't remember. Like, I want to say it was Dallas, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Wendy.
No, you raised it. Ken,
Yeah, this is.
I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Houston.
That is incorrect. It is C, Dallas.
Ah.
That is.
Ken.
You could have had a Ken.
Well done.
Well done.
Gotta follow protocols.
I'm sorry.
In which episode featuring Karsten and Daniel discussing Copilot Studio and AI Studio, what is the title of that? Is it A, Copilot Extensibility, B, Agents, C, Copilot Studio and AI Studio Part 1, or D, low-code learning, how organizations can adopt and benefit? Ken.
I'm going to go with D.
It is incorrect. It is Copilot
See?
Studio and AI Studio Part 1.
You didn't
Ah.
go with the second person.
Oh, you guys want to do that? Okay, we'll do that going forward. We'll go that forward. Okay, all right.
Okay.
I honestly thought it was C just because I know you and your naming conventions, and D was way too long, and the other ones were like before its time. Like we wouldn't have named things agents at that point yet.
Yeah,
I
that's
was going
fair.
to say C, but I was like, wait, did we record a part 2 of that yet?
I'm pretty sure we did.
I'm pretty sure we did too.
Now I have to go like
See,
Copilot.
like everybody's like, what?
Guys, it's early. It's
Go
super
listen to it.
early
We
in the
should
morning.
I don't
the
know
show
if I
notes.
worked here
Yeah.
yet at that point, honestly.
You might not have been on the
Jocelyn is still
podcast.
in school.
Okay, the next question. Who were the guests in the episode, and this goes over like all the branding things we've changed, the episode Copilot Extensibility? Was it A, Nathan Helgen and Sabine Nair, B, Eric Lever and Nicole Holt, C, Rahul Ranjit and Bill Ryan, or D, Karsten and Daniel? Jocelyn?
It's Nathan and Sabine.
Yes, you are correct. All right, we're all tied at
You looked
2.
really confident when you put that up.
That was, yeah, I know, yeah.
Because Sabine and I kind of did a part 1 of that. That's why I was
right.
like,
That's actually your first episode on the
that
podcast.
was my first episode. Yeah.
That is
I
true.
forgot
That is
about
true.
that.
Okay, so now we're going to get into a little bit harder questions because we're coming up to some tiebreakers. All right. This one's
Do we
interesting.
even know what our score is right now?
It's
fun,
a 2 all around. Everybody's got 2 points,
Okay.
which means you all answered one correctly. Here
I'm
we go.
super competitive, so I need to know this.
Yeah, I knew this is going to be fun. In the episode Copilot Studio and AI Studio Part 1, what analogy did Karsten use to explain the different copilots? Is it A, Lego bricks, B, puzzle pieces, C, building blocks, or D, jigsaw puzzle? You know what they love on podcasts? Dead silence. Nobody's bringing up their papers.
Can you bring an episode from when I was alive?
That's
you know we recorded.
okay. Wendy,
Okay, I'm gonna guess that it's Lego bricks.
you are 100% correct. It is Lego. That is Wendy in the lead with 4 points. This one's great. I love this one. In the episode where Richard Riley was the guest, what did he say was the most valuable aspect of agents? Is it A, creativity and scope, B, speed and efficiency, C, security and governance, or D, flexibility and adaptability? Ken,
E, having Sean on his team.
this is, you know what?
Aw.
1,000,000 points for Ken. 1,000,000 points for Ken for House Brisket.
Our
Thank you.
viewership and audience compared to that of conferences. Yes.
Fair. But the real answer, is it security and governance, creativity and scope, flexibility and adaptability, or speed and efficiency? Jocelyn,
I don't remember what he was, but Ken and I think security and governance.
you are correct. It is C, security and governance. Okay, so for everybody
We're
at home,
tied, I think.
well, it's, yeah, well, I mean, Ken's in the lead with 1,000,002 points, but
1,000,004. Because
This is true.
Jocelyn and I share that answer.
Mhm.
it's true. This is true. This one's a deep cut, and I will be shocked if anybody gets this one. In the episode, Low Code Learning, How Organizations Can Adopt and Benefit, what role did Nicole Holt have at Preble Street? Was it A, Data Systems Project Manager, B, Principal Program Manager, C, Senior Cloud Advocate, or D, Director of Business Programs? Ken,
Why do I think it was D?
that is incorrect. Wendy,
Was it A?
you are correct. It is Data Systems Project Manager.
This was the
All
one.
right.
What was the episode title again?
It was Low Code Learning, How Organizations Can Adopt and Benefit.
Yes, I remember.
That's ridiculous. that
It's crazy how you can remember so many episodes.
There's 100 of them now. That's pretty nuts.
I know.
I think Wendy
Okay.
invited that person, so it's probably that
I think
point
I
doesn't
did.
count.
So
Yeah, I can actually hear Wendy typing to them and asking, what was your role? Anyway, so
Copilot, come help me. I literally built an agent for this game show.
that's actually, you know what? I'm using your agent to create these questions. So
Did you
thank you
really?
so much. I did, yeah. It's awesome.
Like
And
how
so,
you sent us like a fake document of questions to be prepared for today, and then psych, we're doing a game show instead.
oh, we'll still do the questions too. But let's get into one last question. This one will be, because in my mind, we're all equals. We're all tied, even though for real, Wendy's in the lead right now. But we're all tied. Last question. In the episode Power Automate Desktop and Copilot for Makers, what company did Microsoft acquire to enhance Power Automate Desktop? I will hold on you. Hold on. I mean, you're first, but hold on.
We don't need your options.
The rest of the audience needs to be able to play.
Fine.
Yeah, there you go. Man, so angry. Is it A, Soft Motive, B, GitHub, C, LinkedIn, D, Xamarin? Jocelyn.
Soft Motive.
There you go. That is correct. All right,
this
everybody.
Was when General started her internship. It was during this acquisition, and then I made a bunch of friends from Greece and Europe because of it.
You know what's my favorite part about that? Like, as you were trying to talk, you were shaking a paper, which totally distracted from what you were trying to say.
You know what?
And also covered up everything she was saying. So that
exactly.
The YouTube viewers will enjoy it. Maybe not so the listening ones. But this is a great time for me to tell all of the listeners that I'm actually a massive hypocrite and I don't learn things via like auditorily at all. Like I am not a podcast listener girly and I tell you guys to listen to me every week. So for 100 episodes, I'm sorry.
That is totally fine. However, that's the end of our quiz show, which still leaves Wendy in the lead. She's the winner. She is the one that knows the most about the podcast. Wendy, I'm the one that's asking questions. So we'll cover that later. We'll cover what you want at a later point. Now, in our chats earlier when we're trying to come up with questions, Wendy came up with some amazing questions using her agent, I believe. And I think we should cover some of the ones that you sent some screenshots on, if that would be possible. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm going to steal one, the top one. I'm going to direct it at Ken because he's been extra vocal this episode. I want to make sure he gets some airtime. Hey, Ken, what's one governance myth we've debunked that you wish more people understood?
There are no myths.
Clip that, Sam.
What are we talking about? Everything that I say is factual. Period.
This is from Ken's mouth to Microsoft Learn Docs. You heard it here. This is good stuff. You know what? Let me change this up a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I will throw you another line. If you could describe our podcast journey using a culinary metaphor, what dish would it be? Now I got him thinking.
Ratatouille? No.
Like we have a rat on our heads controlling us?
Somewhat.
That's fair.
Right. Not the actual movie, but maybe the dish. I don't know.
The dish is pretty good.
Why? You have to explain it.
Tiramisu?
Oh, Ken, you're talking my love language now.
Multi-layered.
There's a coffee lover. There's a person who's always a bit kind of smooth. There's one person who's always, thinking that they need to be the top layer.
Yeah.
And somehow it all comes together.
Fantastic. I like that. I like that.
That was well done.
I was going to make the metaphor pizza, whether you wanted it to be pizza or not, but it was going to be pizza. It was going to be something about layers as well, but about how everybody brings their own disparate flavor, right? And it all comes together.
Like a regional thing? Okay. Let's direct a question over to Jocelyn. And so this is going to be interesting. You can determine what I mean by first in here. Jocelyn, what's one security challenge that's evolved dramatically since our first episode?
So, my first episode was when I was still on connectors. And at this point in time, PVA, or Power Virtual Agents, had just become Copilot Studio. So the world was much less agentified, and we were super excited about the fact that the OpenAI connector existed. So it felt like a very, very different landscape, right? I think at that point in time, we were not thinking about the manageability of agents across disparate ecosystems yet. That was not a challenge that we had identified at that point in time. So whether that be Copilot Studio versus Agent Builder versus declarative agents versus, agents that are published in disparate channels. That was not something that we had figured out how to manage yet. And with that, from a product perspective, we've definitely been investing a lot more. So that's probably one of the biggest changes or things that at least Ken and I have had to spend a lot more time thinking about since that point in time.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Wendy, This is like actually all of you are in this position. You were all guests before you were host. And then we figured out the secret ingredient is all of you. And so I'm going to ask this question to you. I mean, really can go to everyone, but if you could go back to your first guest appearance on the podcast, what advice would you give yourself?
Give myself as a host or give myself as like the listener? Give the listener.
I would say as a host. So like if you knew you were going to come back as a host on the podcast, but you're just at the guest role at that point, like what advice would you give yourself for the
Wendy
first
doesn't
couple of
need
appearances?
advice. I mean, she's pretty much a natural at both being a guest and a host.
I definitely think that, oh, you know me, I'm Captain Planet, so I like to prepare, but I think being a little bit more spontaneous, and I've definitely learned how to, I know, right? I definitely have learned how to have the mixture of both, like prepare, but then prepare to go off track and be derailed, usually by Ken, um, on a podcast episode. I also think like my first episode, I think was about just understanding what is in the Power Platform and then also what is service management. I think we did a part 1, part 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe I'll answer your questions in 2 parts, Sean. I think that for our listeners, it's still very important to understand how all of this applies to the different roles. And something that we've tried to weave in is rather than do a specific adoption podcast episode or a specific service management podcast, is to weave in those topics throughout every episode. And you'll see that in the questions we're asking. And so that's another thing that I would have said is make sure you're speaking to the broader audience and everyone cares about those questions in some way or another. So weaving those in as well.
That makes sense. I like that. So one more question for Wendy, and then I'll go and ask questions of the others. So you did a lot of customer facing work in your prior role when you were first on the podcast as a host. Like, what's one way you've seen the podcast help reshape how companies adopt technology? More importantly, Microsoft Copilot and agents. But like, how have you seen the podcast help organizations learn, adopt, and build around new technologies?
I've actually been thinking about this a lot because obviously every episode has a lot of value and we've got a lot of wealth. But one of the things that we're doing is we're helping some of the leading voices on topics or on thinking scale. So I think about like the Leanne episode or Aisha, our Microsoft IT talking about how they govern things and how they unblocked agents and being able to, historically they would show up to a handful, very select few organizations with their PowerPoint and do a presentation. Now we're giving them a voice beyond just those few conversations. I think about like the Juliet Helms thinking about the cost analysis and ROI on Copilot and agents. And there's so many other guests on governance security or voices there. I think another thing that we're doing is so those assets can go to the decision makers, but we're again bringing these topics back in mind. Jocelyn and Ken, with your background in governance too, you're always trying to ground us, not just in it's a great new feature, but also how does this work securely and how do we protect things and kind of shaping the story and really being real with our customers about what are the questions that they need. We're pre-answering some of the questions they need to be aware of so they can be confident in the technology and how it all fits together. I've actually been able to see the podcast be sent to senior leaders in companies in certain episodes when I was working with customers say, you have this question, let me send you the episode. Here's how Microsoft did it, or here's how you can do an ROI analysis, or here's how you can talk. You have governance questions about how agents work. Let's send you this episode, or build versus buy, or some of those things. And it's been amazing to be able to have those assets to send to customers so that they can get access to the voices that they may not historically have had access to before.
Let me add a little piece to that too, Sean.
And then me too after.
I know we were talking about, well, you asked me about the myths and everything, and I kind of jokingly brushed it off. But one of the things that I remember, we were in Vienna at the Power Platform Conference, and somebody walked up and talked about Wendy, like one of the episodes where we were drilling down into deploying agents and telling them essentially not having to reinvent the wheel. I forgot the name, the episode, but we were telling them, like, hey, well, what did you do for all your other applications that you deployed? What processes did you go through? What lessons did you learn there? And why can't you use those same things when you're looking to deploy agents? And I remember, they were saying that that episode really helped them because they were kind of blaming the agents for doing a lot of things like exposing data in their organizations and so on. And in that same episode, we said, well, what did you do with Delve and SharePoint and everything else? And they said they had to go back and take a really hard look at their data landscape and realize that agents weren't the problem, but it was
the data
actually
security was.
it was
Yeah.
the data security was. Yeah, exactly. Not the new brand new shiny tool that they were bringing in, but something that was legacy that was left over. Jocelyn, you had more to add?
I think that the other thing that I really like that we've evolved upon is kind of trying to shed light on topics that don't inherently feel warm and fuzzy. Trying to help demystify and make things that feel daunting feel like something we can talk more about more easily. And obviously, like, governance and security is one of them. When manager Sean hired me, he was like, I want Jocelyn to make security feel friendly. But beyond that, one of the episodes that comes to mind is the Shivani and Moktik episode where we talked about architecture and infrastructure.
Yeah.
And that's usually perceived as a very heavy, hardcore topic. But we've worked to make these things feel like something that you can discuss and it can be conversational and you can start to strategize about it.
No, that's a good point, Jocelyn. You bring up making these more difficult topics approachable, and I think that's a great output of the podcast, or at least a way to kind of set the mindset for what are we discussing. So, Ken, I want to piggyback what you talked about a little bit before, that you were in Vienna and you were talking to customers out there. And so, unlike Jocelyn, Ken is not hard to miss at conferences. So,
And I am approachable.
It's like, I mean,
Wow.
like, super approachable. I've never seen someone more inviting. The thing that I do want to ask you is, what's the most unexpected reaction you've received from a listener? Now, that could be, in a Teams chat, that could be at an event, that could be, in any of your interactions with a listener.
I've got a list of things. At the workshops, people now, for whatever particular reason, bring me gifts.
That's true.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
do.
Bring me gifts, hats, candy, nuts.
They bring me tea because I'm always sick.
They bring Jocelyn tea. I mean, they do things like that, which was quite surprising. I was like, what did I do to deserve this? Right? Because it's like, I'm very thankful to that. Especially someone, I will not name your name because I don't want to embarrass you, but they bring me macadamia nuts. And I know you listen to the podcast, and I'm very thankful for those macadamia nuts that you bring me, and the tea that you also bring to Jocelyn. So thank you very much for that. One of the other most unexpected things was, apparently I have a very recognizable voice.
No.
So my wife and I are here in Houston, and we're out at dinner one night. And, I don't speak very loud when I'm at the table because my voice carries. But someone is sitting behind us, okay? And this person gets up and walks over and says, "Hey, are you Ken Aguilar?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And my wife looks and said, "How do y'all know each other?" And the gentleman says, "Well, I don't know him, but I recognize his voice." And my wife goes, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
Now look what you've done. She's like, now his ego is going to be.
He's a celebrity.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't have an ego. So she's like, "No, I guess you don't, but your voice is, very distinct."
Nice.
So there's other examples, but I've also tried to make it back from the workshops or at the conferences. I remember leaving one day at 2:35 from the speaker room, Sean, 2:35.
Yeah, I remember this.
And trying to make it back to my room. And
I remember this.
And I did not get back to my room until 6?
Yeah.
Almost 7 o'clock that evening, because I kept getting stopped. And I can't say no to people. I have to keep talking to them and saying, like, I want to talk. I want to fix your problem. I want to understand. I want feedback. I want all of these things. So yes, I am Dr. No, except when I'm in public, I like to say yes.
This is true. This is true. You can also buy them off with macadamia nuts. That's what I'm finding out too.
Yes, and that's good. And very, very good, very expensive alcohol.
That's it. Nothing like giving qualifiers, Ken. I appreciate that.
Does the alcohol have to be presented to you in the shape of a bird, or any shape alcohol is okay?
Oh yeah, that was fun too. Yeah, I remember
That's a
that.
whole nother episode that Sean and I could talk about.
That was good times. That was super good times.
Can we briefly also mention all of the lovelies that post about us like on their socials?
Actually,
I
yeah,
get
huge
so
shout
excited,
out.
and
Yeah.
I like SMS Sean because I bother him outside of work far too much with random facts. But it's
True.
like somebody was like, I listen to you guys while I'm doing my yard work, or somebody yesterday like took
Yeah.
a picture
Commuted.
of the
Yeah.
podcast on their commute, and that's so crazy to me to think about, the fact that like we are the background sounds to your life while you're doing your things. So I don't know, that's really special to me.
I'm kind of like, why would you want to listen to me?
This
I
is
mean,
soothing.
maybe a sleep music, but
Yeah.
or sleep sounds, but I
I
get
love
it.
it because Sean's been asking all the questions, and the host in me does not like this. So, Sean, I want to know why did you like? What's the story? Why did you start the podcast? Because you did run it for a few episodes before us. So, how did that get started? And then, where do you see the podcast going for the next 100 episodes?
Wow. Okay, I'll start with the before times, and then I'll go into the future of the podcast and at least some of my thoughts for that. So I know we've discussed this before, actually, in our episode, Wendy, when you came on as a guest, what my background is, and I don't have a background in marketing, which means that I am not accustomed to following some of the standard procedures for marketing, and so I wanted to get information directly from product to customers with the fewest amount of barriers that I can come up with. And so instead of leveraging existing marketing channels in Microsoft, I decided to create my own. And everyone has a podcast. It's very easy to set one up and to start going forward with it. And so early on in my career at Microsoft, who was my peer, but now my boss, Eric McChesney, introduced me to Ken. And that was just like a wellspring of networking and introductions to people. And so as I was doing the podcast, Ken was my first guest. We talked about soft skills for IT admins to kind of tell you, like, it's not all, tech. There's a lot of soft skills you need to have to be successful as an admin. And it's one of my favorite episodes, even though it's like super awkward because it's just me talking as a host, but really excited about that. So one, to get around the marketing red tape at Microsoft is one reason to create the podcast. The second one is that it is also really, really good for networking and opening to a larger audience within Microsoft and shedding some light on some features and products that might not get enough attention. Everybody's super proud of their work, and everybody should be able to talk about their work because there's always going to be an interested party in it. And I'm interested. I want to learn about this stuff. I want to get smarter. So by asking these questions to our guests helps me learn and understand Microsoft and our technologies better, and then also gives airtime to others. The third reason behind that is I just love you guys and I love hanging out with you guys, and so I really cherish the moments that I get to do podcasts with you because it's super fun. Even when I'm not there, I'll still listen back to it and be like, did they open up okay? Did they close the podcast okay? Because that's my thing,
no one
man.
can close the podcast like you.
I wish we had the bloopers from the ones that didn't end successfully.
From the whole episode that we didn't put out with me and Ken?
That one's chaos. That one will never see the light of day.
Well, there was the one where Ken introduced himself as Wendy.
I do remember that. Yes, that is very true.
That was intentional.
It was
really.
It was smooth.
It was intentional.
As Ken says before, everything he says is true. He does not stutter.
This is
Look
all
at me.
facts.
I'm Wendy now.
Yes, that's right. I'm the Wendy now.
I'm the Wendy. It is fantastic.
And then pixie dust. Yeah, where are we going, Sean?
Yeah, so where are we actually be going? Well, the world is changing. Technology landscape is changing. It's not all just low code and power platform. Microsoft is much bigger than that. And so as we are creating new episodes and releasing new episodes, we're going to really go end to end across Microsoft. We're going to delve deeper into Microsoft security. We're going to go and bring in our friends at Azure and start talking about Foundry and additional Azure services. We, I think, have this new Planner. I don't know if you guys know anybody, but I would love to get more about Planner because that's a tool I use every day. Yeah, seriously, like it's got to be in there. So you're going to see us cover more than just low code and more than just Power Platform. We're really going to start covering a lot more because, like I said earlier, I love to learn. And I think the more you know about technology and the stack and what's possible, the more robust solutions you can develop. And, it's just great. It's just great to be enabled and educated on these things. So that's where I'd like to bring the podcast and see us take our discussions.
I'm super excited for that future.
Me too. Let's, speaking of closing, we're getting yelled at by our producer. So I'm going to ask one question, and I never sent like a third question over to Jocelyn. Jocelyn, if we did have a low code approach Olympics, what would be the goal? Like, what would be the main attraction event? What would that actually be?
Is it like an actual Olympic event, or is it just an event that now I'm making part of this theoretical?
The latter.
Okay.
How dare you?
I feel like it would have to be something culinary related, given the group of us. I don't think it's just like a sheer eating contest or something, but I think it might have to do with like
crush you guys.
Something along the lines of like creating a culinary journey or menu or something like that. That's like metaphoric of sorts. I don't know if that answered the question whatsoever.
I feel like you were in your own space there. I appreciate it, Jocelyn. That was great. Thank you.
It'll probably be a Microsoft version of like Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that'll be
like
super
a cooking
interesting.
show sorts.
Yeah,
an episode from the kitchen we could record sometime. That's for episode 200.
We should do a podcast where like we're vlogging from Ken's grill.
Oh my god.
Can we call it Getting Heated with Ken?
Yeah. And then we should do a soup one with me.
Oh yeah, all right. Yeah, we'll do that. And then Wendy, I think you all know what we're going to talk about with you.
I got stuck with it, but I'll roll.
There's know how you got stuck with it.
I do. There's a restaurant nearby that now serves bacon and blueberries on the waffle. So
only a bacon enthusiast would know that.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, exactly.
On
it's
that
amazing.
note.
Yeah, on that note, well, look, we are super excited for everyone who joined us for the first 100 episodes. We're super excited to take you on the journey for the next 100 episodes and have you look and experience what that technology landscape is going to be, because it's going to be different than what we're talking about now. And I'm very excited for that. So thank you, everybody, for your time. Thank you for listening, and can't wait for you guys to join the next 100. Yay.